Donald Trump is panicking and he has gone mute. He has gone silent on Thanksgiving. No posts from him yet, ranting and raving like a lunatic on Thanksgiving, which he usually does. One of the reasons, though, that Donald Trump is panicking and trying to figure out what the hell he's going to do right now on this Thanksgiving is because it has now been confirmed by multiple other sources, and you probably heard it here on the MeidasTouch network first, that the Trump regime granted asylum to the DC shooter back in April of this year. In fact, Kristi Noem, the head of the Department of Homeland Security, had to confirm that this morning. Fox then confirmed it as well. The Trump regime officially granted asylum to the shooter in April of this year. More on that in a moment. Also, people are livid and pissed at this regime on this Thanksgiving. We all know that the price of turkey is up. We all know that the price of Thanksgiving dinner is significantly higher. The prices of everything are essentially higher right now, despite the Trump regime trying to gaslight us and claim that everything is lower. We all know that to be false. And as we sit around the table and we share our Thanksgiving stories about this past year, none of them are favorable to this despicable regime and what they've done to this country. Let me just pull up, though, the latest reporting from Fox on this DC shooter. And this information is now also coming from the regime as they're spiraling and not sure how the hell they're going to respond to this. So the alleged shooter, Rahmanullah Lakanwal, worked for the CIA in Afghanistan out of Kandahar's base, according to CIA Director John Ratcliffe. Multiple sources tell Jennifer Griffin, she's actually a really good reporter on Fox. She covers national security. She's one of the few good reporters there. She says, multiple sources tell me he was vetted before working with the CIA by the NCTC, National Counterterrorism Center, and the CIA. He basically worked for the CIA. I'm told that Lakwinal was with the task force in Kandahar during the Afghan withdrawal. The CIA airlifted, with the help of the U.S. military, many Afghan allies who had worked with the U.S. government and took special care of those who were badged and worked with the agency. They were taken to bases in Qatar and Europe, Trump's friends in Qatar, and then onward to military bases in the U.S., where further vetting was supposed to take place. Having a CIA ID would have put him in a vetted category. I'm told there was nothing in his background when he arrived in the U.S. on September 8th, 2021, that suggested links to terrorism. He applied for asylum last year and reportedly received asylum in April under the Trump administration. And then CNN writes, Kristi Noem has said that this individual was granted asylum this past year in April of 2025 under the Trump administration. By the way, you can see his badge right here, Rahmanullah's badge right here. He was a rank of an E5 right there when he was working in the Afghan army and working with the CIA. So earlier this morning, a press conference was held in Washington, D.C. Just think about this. Donald Trump scared, panicking. He's in Florida on the taxpayer dime right now, probably golfing. Who the hell knows what he's even doing? I suppose we can expect one of his ranting and raving lunatic posts soon now. But then you had a press conference in Washington, D.C. by Jeanine Pirro, the former Fox host, who's now the top federal prosecutor in D.C., and Kash Patel, the former podcaster who's now the FBI director, who's part of the PPP, the Pedo Protection Program, covering up the release of the Epstein files and thus working with the Trump regime to cover up a child sex trafficking ring. So when Kash Patel was asked by a reporter, can you clarify the timeline of when the suspect was granted asylum? Watch what Patel says. Play this clip.
And Secretary Kristi Noem has put out details specifically related to your other questions, so I'll let that speak for themselves.
When he was granted asylum, if you could just clarify that timeline. And
yes, I believe Kristi Noem put that out, and that's a DHS matter, and I'll refer it to them.
Notice how he refers it to Kristi Noem. Just ask Kristi Noem. She'll be the one to tell you, because he didn't want to admit that it was the Trump regime that granted asylum to this individual. And also the head of the FBI's counterterrorism. You want to know who that is? I'm sure you know right now because you watch the MeidasTouch network. A guy by the name of Thomas Fugate, a 22-year-old former intern landscaper. He was basically a Trump fan. And he was a Trump super fan, so Trump elevated Fugate to become the head of FBI's counterterrorism. Never worked in the FBI, no counterterrorism experience. Like a 22-year-old guy right out of school, who was a landscaper, becoming the head of FBI counterterrorism. Wow, it's so dangerous. And then they've gutted all the counterterrorism capabilities. They put FBI agents to go and attack hardworking migrants who have been paying their taxes and to do raids in farms and factories and restaurants and Home Depots and street vendors while debilitating our counterterrorism capabilities. Here's what Jeanine Pirro said during the press conference. She goes, "This is what happens when people are allowed in who aren't properly vetted." Here, play this clip.
Now, Sarah and Andrew volunteered. They came here to protect the people of the district, pursuant to a crime emergency that President Trump rightly declared in this city and in other cities across the country. Our nation's capital should not and must not be a place where evil comes to commit violence, whatever their cause or motive may be. We should not have to live in fear in the nation's capital, especially by one who came here from a foreign country. And through a process that was so absurd that he came through and released into this country, as many were, knowing virtually nothing about his vetting. This is what happens in this country when people are allowed in who are not properly vetted.
So aren't you telling on yourself? Y'all were the one who did the final vetting. You're the administration. I mean, is the posture from these people always going to be like Biden's always in office? Y'all are the people running it. Y'all are the people who put the National Guard in Washington, D.C. And now you have the brilliant idea, and I say that sarcastically, to now put 500 more National Guard in the Washington, D.C. Nobody wants them there. And here was a good question by a reporter saying there were people upset with Trump, believing the National Guard shouldn't be there in the first place. Watch what her response is. Here, play this clip.
There are people who are also upset with the president, believing that the National Guard members should not even have been there if it were not for the executive order.
Well, I don't even want to talk about whether they should have been there. We ought to kiss the ground and thank God that the president said it's time to bring in more law enforcement to make sure that a city that had the fourth highest homicide rate in the country was that violence was quelled. I'm not even going to go there.
What a sick response. She goes, we ought to kiss the ground and thank God for Donald Trump that he's put more law enforcement in D.C. The National Guard are not law enforcement. They're military. They don't belong in Washington, D.C. And putting 500 more National Guard in Washington, D.C. after this incident may be the stupidest thing ever. And doing it before this incident is the stupidest thing ever. These West Virginia National Guards members should never have been in Washington, D.C. They're military. What are we doing here?
Have you tried everything under the sun for peace of mind? It sounds like it's time for you to try Cornbread Hemp's CBD gummies. CBD has helped me calm my mind and reduce my anxieties during this crazy time. And I'm especially grateful for Cornbread Hemp and their CBD gummies this holiday season. Cornbread Hemp's CBD gummies are made to help you feel better, whether it's stress, discomfort, or just needing a little relaxation. They only use the best part of the hemp plant, the flower, for the purest and most potent CBD. All products are third-party lab tested and USDA organic to ensure safety and purity. Right now, MeidasTouch listeners can take advantage of the holiday BOGO savings and enjoy free shipping on orders over $45. Head to cornbreadhemp.com/Meidas and use code Meidas at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/Meidas, code Meidas. Cornbread Hemp. This is the good life.
More from Jeanine Pirro over here. And she goes, but these are the people who protect the district. And this is what protects civilized societies from barbaric ones. Here, play this clip.
These guardsmen and all who are here to protect the district are the line that separates a civilized society from a barbaric one. They are the ones who stand for law and order. This was not just an attack. It was a direct challenge to law and order in our nation's capital. And the individual will be made fully accountable. And though it seems that we have been here before under President Trump, make no mistake, and the Attorney General, we will not allow this to be normalized. It will be confronted, condemned, and prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Civilized societies from barbarian. What are you talking about? We have something called police, and the FBI, if they want to work with police to step up law enforcement activities, sure, great, but you don't send in the National Guard right here. And here's what Mayor Bowser says from DC. She's retiring right now because who the hell would want to even deal with the Trump regime? She announced her retirement before the shooting. Let me be very clear. And she said these young people should be in West Virginia right now, and they should. Frankly, they should never have been in D.C. to begin with. Play this clip.
Everyone has reported here, somebody drove across the country, came to Washington, D.C. to attack America. And that person will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. These young people should be at home in West Virginia with their families.
Now, can I show you what a normal Thanksgiving message is from former President Barack Obama? He goes, during this season of giving, let's do what we can to give back to the communities that have given us so much. From our families to yours, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Can you contrast that message to Donald Trump's Thanksgiving message before he went silent and mute on Thanksgiving, where he called Governor Pritzker a fat slob? Play this clip.
Of every newspaper, it's out of control. The mayor is incompetent, and the governor is a big fat slob. He ought to invite us in, say, please make Chicago safe. We're going to lose a great city if we don't do it quickly.
Or when Donald Trump, well, this was like the first, like the only time he addressed Thanksgiving, when he said that I was thinking about sending these turkeys to the concentration camps in El Salvador. He refers to them as the terrorist confinement centers. But like, why is that funny that you sent human beings in the United States to a concentration camp in El Salvador and you think it's funny to joke about turkeys going there? I mean, what the hell are you even doing? Play this clip.
But instead of pardon, some of my more enthusiastic staffers were already drafting the paperwork to ship Gobble and Waddle straight to the terrorist confinement center in El Salvador. And even those birds don't want to be there. You know what I mean? It was a tough. I'd like to thank the president of that country. They do a rather efficient job. It's got to be the largest prison in history. I've never seen anything like it. And a lot of people are behaving on our streets now. You know, Washington, D.C. is considered a safe zone. This was one of our most unsafe places anywhere in the United States. It is now considered a totally safe city. I won't tell you about murders. We're having murders, like a lot of murders, on a weekly basis. We haven't had a murder in 6 months.
And Donald Trump continues to gaslight us and tell us that everything's 25% cheaper right now on Thanksgiving when we know it's false. Play this clip.
And again, I go to Walmart and other companies, and in every case, it's about 25%. That a meal, a Thanksgiving meal and surroundings are 25% lower than it was under the Biden administration. That's a big fact. And that comes from Walmart and others that do that. Okay?
And let me just leave you with this image right here of former President Barack Obama over the years of his presidency talking about Thanksgiving. Play this clip.
For centuries, in peace and in war, in prosperity and in adversity, Americans have paused at this time of year to gather with loved ones and give thanks for life's blessings. We'll spend some time taking stock of what we're thankful for, the God-given bounty of America and the blessings of one another. I'm thankful that my daughters get to grow up in this great country of ours, and I'm thankful for the chance to do my part, as together we make tomorrow better than today. We're also grateful that this country has always been home to Americans who see these blessings not simply as gifts to enjoy, but as opportunities to give back. We give thanks for the men and women who set sail for this land nearly 4 centuries ago, risking everything for the chance at a better life, and the people who are already here, our Native American brothers and sisters, for their generosity during that first Thanksgiving.
This is a season not only be thankful for the incredible blessings that we have, but also to remember the neediest and generously serve those who are not as fortunate.
It's easy to focus on what separates us, but as we gather with loved ones on this Thanksgiving, let's remember and be grateful for what binds us together. I'm thankful that I get to see the best of America every day. The courage of our troops and veterans, the resilience of our families, and the basic goodness of the ordinary people who call this country home. Thanks, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
And in fact, let me leave you with this image of him at a food bank doing what we are used to seeing presidents doing. Here, play this clip. There you have it. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. Happy Thanksgiving from the MeidasTouch Network to you and your family.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.